there, we are going to move on to 8.5, which is division properties of exponents. And just to remind you, here is the division, one of the division properties is if you're dividing with the same base, that you subtract the exponent. So I'm going to give you some examples here how this works. So here we have the same base, A and A. Oops, that didn't work. Wrong, eraser. We have A here and A here, so they have the same base. So we're going to take A to the 6 minus 14 power because I'm subtracting 6 and the 14. Notice that I don't have a fraction right now. I'm just going to take the 6 minus the 14. There's no, you can put it over 1 if you want. Okay, and when I do that, 6 minus 14 is going to give me negative 8 as an exponent. There's still a 1 on the bottom. Okay, and because this is a negative exponent, you remember from before that our property said to move it to the bottom to make it positive. So at the end, my answer will be 1 over A to the 8th power. That would be my answer for that one. And so we're going to come over here to the same thing. This time, we have two variables. So it's a little bit more complicated. But we're going to start with the C's first. And again, I'm going to put the 1 on the bottom. And I'm going to put C. And then we're going to go negative 1 minus 5. And then I have D. And it's going to be a positive 3 minus a negative 4. Now these minus negatives get people into trouble all the time because they forget to do minus negatives a positive. So we now have negative 1 minus 5 is C to the negative 6 power. And then D is actually 3 minus negative is 3 plus. So that's going to be 7. 3 plus 4. And then over 1. And now, like before, because the C has a negative exponent, we're going to move it to the bottom, but the positive exponent will stay on top. So D to the 7th is still on top, and then C to the 6th on the bottom. And this would be our answer for that example. So now you can try these 5 examples. We've got from smaller to more complicated on your own. So the next rule that we had, again, this was all back in that first, in that initial video. So if you don't remember, you might want to go back and watch that 8.1 video where I had all of them. But here is the property. It's raising a quotient to a power. So inside the fraction, inside the parentheses, sorry, there's a fraction, A over B. And you have that to a power outside, which means that you have to distribute the exponent to both the top and the bottom. That's basically what it is. So I'm going to have Paul come up here right now. And he's going to show you how to do this example here. So show us, Paul, how do we distribute the cubic to both the top and the bottom? Go ahead and write it down for us. Yep, 4 to the 3rd. And then we're going to have x squared to the 3rd. Awesome. And then that can further be simplified, equals. We know that 4 to the 3rd power is 64. And if you don't know that, you can just plug in the calculator. And when you have a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. So 6. Thank you very much, Paul. You are so kind. Say hello to my friends.
Hello.
So we get 64 over, remember, this is a property from before, 2 to the 3rd power. You multiply those, and you get 6. And this is our final answer for that example. And so now you can try these 3 on your own. And good luck with that. And then we have our final example here. And we're going to ask Mom to come up and do one. And Christian will do the other one. So get on up here, Mom. He doesn't know how to do it. I'll help you. It'll be okay, calculus student. Distribute the negative 2 to both the top and the bottom. OMG. Yeah, you're right. You're scaring the rest of the class, but that's okay. All right, so thank you, Mung. This is totally the right answer, but Mung doesn't like showing his work much, so I'm just going to go back and recap that for you if you missed it, because he was probably covering the screen. The first thing that he did is, when you have a negative exponent and there's a fraction inside, you can actually flip over the fraction and make it positive. I'm going to show you why that's true real quick here. So you can see, if you didn't do that, what you would do is you would put 3 to the negative 2 power over 5 to the negative 2 power, because the negative power will go to both. And since we know that if it's negative, you can move it to the bottom, that would then mean that this 3 to the negative 2 would go to the bottom, and the 5 to the negative 2 would go to the top, which basically means the 5 would be positive on top when you move it, and the 3 would come down positive as well, and you would still end up at the same place that Mung did, 5 squared over 3 squared. He just did it a little bit faster because, again, if you have a fraction with a negative exponent, you can just flip it over from the beginning and then proceed. So at any rate, 5 squared is 25, 3 squared is 9, and that in fact is your answer. So Christian is going to come up here and do B for us. And don't forget, Christian, that there's 3 things here. Awesome. You also need to put parentheses on your negative 2 there, because it's to the, yeah, just carry on. Well, it doesn't have to be on the 2, but your only other option would be to go negative 1 to the negative 4th power, 2 to the negative 4th power, x to the negative 4th power, over y to the negative 4th power, right? But you can just make them into the same number, negative 2 to the 4th power. It will matter, because if you don't put it in there, their answer will end up being negative and it should stay positive. It will matter. So, good question, people. It will matter.
Okay, so I'm going to end up with 16, x, 26, x to the 4th, y to
Awesome. Thank you.
the 4th. It's a 16.
So, that is 26.
It's a 16.
This is, again, the correct answer.
It's a 16.
Sorry, it's a 16. That's the correct answer. It's supposed to be a 16. Okay? But again, I will show you what I was doing here. He was asking about the whole negative situation. So I asked him to put the negative 2 in parentheses. If you don't do that, then you have to treat it like a negative 1, a 2, an x, and a y. So then this is one option, is to put everything with negative 4. Or you can do what I was telling him to do, which is put the negative 2 so together in the negative 4 here. So again, to show your work, because I don't want you guys getting all confused, well, what happened at this point would be that this negative 2 to the negative 4th power would go on the bottom. The 2 would still be negative, but the exponent would be positive 4. The y to the negative 4th would go to the top as a positive, and the x to the negative 4 would go on the bottom as a positive, which is what you see in his answer, y to the 4th, x to the 4th. And then here, because negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 16, that's where the 16 came from. I also want to just remind you that if you wanted to use Mung's method, in this case it would be a little easier. Because this is a negative exponent, we said earlier that you can just go ahead and flip the fraction. So that would be y over 2x. It'd still be negative. Okay, we don't flip the negative, so it's 2x, it's y over 2x. And then this time, it would be to the 4th power. And then you would still get y to the 4th, x to the 4th, negative 2 to the 4th, like we did earlier. But you might do it a little bit faster that way. So just a couple different ways for you to be able to do that problem. And so now you can try these 4 examples on your own. And good luck. I will see you in class, and we'll see how you did. And now Christian's going to hit the stop recording button.